Hey everybody, my name is Sky, this is Tony, and this is the Phuket Retreat Podcast. Hey Tony!
Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, so we are holding a retreat from the 18th, it's till the 25th, isn't it, Tony?
24.
24th. And you
Yeah.
guys can come and join us for a week of Tony and myself,
Oh no, it is
Chef
the
Garesh,
25th,
Raw.
isn't it? It is the 25th. I'd
I
written
thought
down the
it was
24th for some
the
reason. I'm confusing yet. Yeah, no, it is the 20th. I've written down actually, I must confirm I changed that because I'd put the 24th for some reason in my head. I'll change that. But yeah, it's the 25th because it's 7 days. From the 18th, as long as you know it's
Yes.
18th, 7 days.
Yes, and there'll be so much to do. There'll be beach, there'll be us, there'll be workshops, there'll be beautiful tropical fruits. You're in heaven. Like I think of Phuket as heaven. So nothing better than discovering yourself and your passions and your purpose and trying raw food in heaven, right?
Yeah. Cleansing, healing the body, getting into sync with yourself and alignment. It's a great opportunity, especially now as we're building more and more and shedding more. As we've noticed the beginning of this year, we've had in the previous talks, and then we're going to talk about this in this one of just shedding more layers. It might even come up as physical. Like for me at the moment, I've got mucus coming out and coughing. Having to rest even though I want to go. Obviously, things are just not moving as what I want, but this is because it's part of the shed and I'm seeing it energetically, in the health. Excuse me. So lots of things are happening, which is exciting because once we come to the retreat, we can discuss about this first part of the year. Excuse me.
Of course. Now, this is you getting unwell is what we want to talk about. And I had my health scare where I had the skin cancer taken off. And so we wanted to talk about how we are not superhuman, but there's things we can do. There's ways we can look after ourselves. There's ways that we can do, walking, movement, good sleep, good food, good choices so that we can go through these things in an easier route. And I don't know what it's like for you, Tony, but for myself, I appreciate my body when it gets sick or unwell because I know it's doing what it has to do to get rid of things. Like I swapped over from when I used to be sick all the time to being like, this is bad, what my life isn't great, how come this is happening to me? To being going raw. And especially when I first got raw, I got all these like virus symptoms about 3 or 4 times, and I was just so appreciative. You could feel your body heat. I could feel my body heat up really fast, and I was like, it's trying to do something here. And so I rested, I looked after myself, I ate good food, I stayed, indoors for a period of time, and then after I felt a bit better, I got some sunshine. But I had a real appreciation for the work I'd put in, then appreciating the work my body could do to make me feel better. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I did. It depends because there was periods where I was like, I should be getting sick. This is what the topic why we wanted to talk about this because I was like, why am I getting sick? And I haven't been sick in years. What's happening? I'm the cleanest, healthiest. I feel the best than I've ever felt in my life. Why am I getting sick? So, sometimes we put this extra pressure on ourselves, and we're not machines. We're not robots. We might be superhuman at times. We feel the best when you're on the raw lifestyle, but there are times that things happen. And I was traveling a lot, and I was feeling quite vulnerable. I'm going through some things in my personal life, and I was definitely on a lower sort of frequency for myself. So I do know we're still susceptible to other viruses and other potential energies coming in. And with the pollution, because I was up in Bangkok, I think the pollution, especially coming from an island life with loads of green and clean, fairly cleanish air, we're never in perfect conditions, but going to then Bangkok, they've got the burning season happening, and I was in the shopping malls, a lot of stimulus, and I didn't listen to my body either. So I was just sharing with Sky before the call. I knew I was getting, as soon as anytime I feel like swollen glands, I rest or at least water fast for 24 hours. and it clears up. And if it needs longer, I go a little bit longer, up to 48 hours, and I'll increase more my pineapple for bromelain and more ginger and other, herbs and thyme tea and things, especially if it coming from the throat. So I didn't do any of that. Pushed through. I was out all days, just doing lots of things with friends, and then with the cold in the shopping malls and the airports. I'm quite sensitive to cold as well because I never did well in the UK, and that's why I moved to Thailand. I love the heat. Heat I thrive in. And yeah, just with all that combination, it hit me. But then I was like, why? Why? And then I fell into this like victim for a little bit. I was like, I ain't got time to be sick and I don't want to be sick. And I'm so used to not being sick. And I was like, this is not good. So I didn't embrace it at first. But when I leaned into it and I was able to give my body the rest, I was like, okay, push it out, whatever needs to come out. And then more, especially because I'm not using food to numb, to comfort me, like I used to eat so much comfort foods, which we do when we're sick. A lot of people will go to the heavy, denser, high fat cooked foods, like your pastas, your bread. I don't want to do any of that. I did have some soups to heat up. So, I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, I would blend it and use the high-speed blender for warm because it doesn't, like we shared, we don't need it hot. But I did eat out with some soups because I needed something to soothe my throat and heat up as well. And I've had a lot more teas. But I was so like in what was coming up. I was not trying to rush it, even though I'd gone through that first step of like, why me? I went through this surrendering phase. And I think if we really listen to our bodies of what we really need, it's not I didn't want to go back to my old self. So I was very self-aware of not succumbing to these harsher foods that are actually going to make me feel worse. So I allow my body. So just the last few days, just resting and pretty much water fasting with the odd juice and some ginger shots. And that is it. And now it's all coming up. And like yesterday was one of the worst for the coughing. Only been the last day or two for coughing. But it's starting, I've noticed I'm starting to, it's surpassing now. So yeah, I think once you surrender to it, and it's hard at times, especially if you've got your own business, you've got family, but rest and fasting is really going to help us move through it. But if you can't, like I couldn't really while I was away, I just had to accept that this is going to take longer and just not put the pressure on myself.
I think that, like, I always feel whenever something comes up I have pushed myself. Like, I've gone to, if I can stay in my flow state and everything's good, but the way life is, I'm just reading what Don was saying here about how the environment, he's been in an environment, and even thinking about Bangkok, because I've been to Thailand before when I was younger, I remember getting off the plane in Bangkok and the air was like the stench, the heaviness. And so if you are cleaning yourself and you're living near a beach and you found your environment where you are, Tony, which you'd gravitate towards cleaner, lighter, fresh. Like, that's what I do here, right? I feel like when you go raw, you're always gravitating towards those things, unless like work calls us somewhere else. And then you've gone into an environment which is completely different. And when you look at that, where you're then in that environment and you're really doing a lot, and your body is just trying to cleanse, and it probably gets caught up. Like, it's all just too much for the system. And so, but it's good to be mindful that I believe it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does get frustrating when you are doing raw foods, you're sleeping, you're staying low stress, you feel like I could do anything more the universe asked to look after myself.
I know you're doing everything right.
Everything. And then you get sick. It's a why me thing. But also, you brought up the good point. These are aspects we should be working on ourselves, like that we are good enough. No matter what's going on, it is okay. We have, like, reflect back and see what good we have done, how much worse it would be if we hadn't looked after ourselves. When I think of being sick before I was raw, it's like a different type of hell. Like, when I think about getting colds or flus, I used to lay there thinking I was dying. And I have never gotten to that state again. Thank goodness. But it is, and that's why we do what we do, right? But I do get it. We're trying, and this is what the retreat's about, right? Is digging into who we are, what we've done, what we can do, and staying in a zone where it's okay to not be okay, because we've done. I am really, like, I try to be really supportive, to the point where I've been on this journey. I've vomited, and as I'm vomiting in the toilet, I'm like, thank God I don't eat acidic food. It's so easy. But when I first went raw, and I had got an upset stomach about 4 months in, and when I was vomiting, I couldn't believe the difference from even cooked vegan, or the acid that used to come up and just burn my eyes and my body. It would almost convulse a bit as it all came out. And then I was like, this is just not burning. It's just coming back up. It's just my body getting rid of it. And maybe that as well, Tony, as we do this longer, we forget how horrible it used to be.
Yeah, true. And it's also, I feel, at different stages of your journey, and also, and people sometimes can feel worse and might not necessarily have that experience that you have. They might still feel even worse, especially in this healing journey. So this is why we can't say, oh, we fixed everything. There's a lot that there's so many variables that can, feel like we're going backwards, but we're not. I think it's more of a, just allow it to come up and not put that. I think it's the added layer we put on it as the stress, the guilt, and they're like, oh, why? Well, I'm doing all the work. That's what makes things a lot worse. Just allow this processing to come up. It might sometimes feel worse, but yeah, sometimes it's not. Like when I've got, like I said, when I've nearly got sick, I hadn't, because one, I know what to do. My body is more robust than it used to be, but this time this feels intense. This feels like how, when I used to get sick back in the cold weather back in England, where I used to go through the winters always being sick, and it feels a bit like that. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? And I just feel like when you see this in people, it's not a failure. It's just more of a remembrance of this path is not linear, that we have to accept that these, whatever, like, I sometimes feel like you are more sensitive, which is a good thing. You're more sensitive. When they say, oh, vegans now, they can't tolerate anything. Well, we shouldn't be tolerating anything. We shouldn't be. These pollution and this all, yeah, your body can become robust, but not in a way that's when there's so much going on, especially if you've got, some things, going through grief. I'm going through some grief. I'm going through a lot of emotional things. So you're not this, everything's not going to be totally, your foundations are fully strong. So you're going to be susceptible to potential viruses, pollution, things in the air, bacteria, especially in Thailand. There are some things everywhere, but I do believe you go through phases of robustness, if that's the word. But you've also got to accept that there are times when this is you're just not superhuman, which we just share. We're not machines. So I do see some clients thinking, or I've said about this person shouldn't have got sick. How come this person is sick, or this person's got this or this? I'm like, well, we're not. We're human. We all have things that we need to go through. And I've been very blessed for 6 years of not really having any real health issues, especially on the raw path. Cleaner I got, the healthier I got, and then this has happened. But I'm like, this is one thing out of the road of 6 years. It's not, you think a cough that come up. I'm like, come on, I'm still able to do things, but I'm not as I'm resting. But I'm like, come on, like this is a small part of the journey. We sometimes we see others like, oh my God, you kind of over catastrophize things, and you're like, no, it's just part of this process. And so I have to admit, I did go through it's interesting. I want to talk about this more, and that's why we got this topic, because I'm like, yeah, you think this should not be happening to me.
So this has just come up as well. You poor baby, you sound like a good coach, but I don't understand how perfect as well the food you eat, you end up getting these damn viruses. And that is what this topic is about. And what I wanted to say, Tony, is just say you got this the way you used to eat, because I look at coming on this lifestyle and everything before starting this that I wanted to fix, I have fixed. Like, that's in my mind, I fixed that. I've never had anything even remotely come up for me again. There's a whole bundle of other things I can go through that I never felt before. But everything that I wanted to do has come on. And what you're going through right now reminds me of when we talked about your food addiction and your binging and all of that. You don't have that layer plus the sickness on top.
Yeah.
And I think the more, and that's how I see it, as in, like, I bet you you sound terrible. And I know you're going through a lot, but when I say that someone's not doing as badly, it's usually because we've taken layers away by being raw. And that's what I like to remember, because I have found so much solace in positivity. The more positive I am, the more I can cope, the more, especially, I don't go back. So if I start getting myself into, this is bad, I don't like this, all of a sudden, all I do is, not necessarily memory comes back, but I feel like I'm who I used to be. And so as I am positive, I seem to be able to move forward. And the further I get from my trauma, when I turn around and look back, it never feels as harmful. And that really helps me. And it may be part denial, but I think, and it wouldn't surprise me if it is, but I think when you've been through as much as I have, I couldn't cope with any of that memory around me, because a lot of people say, do extended water fasts and all of that. And I'm like, I don't want to lay down for 21 days. I can't mentally do that, because I used to do that. So, but yeah, I always remember that now that I get sick, I don't have chronic pain, another surgery, doctor's appointments, 20 billion medications, and it doesn't feel as heavy. And that, to me, I mean, it may not feel like being superhuman to other people, but to me, it always feels superhuman. I'm like, but also, I was saying to you, is my sensitivities really did get so bad that I would walk out into the building around the corner, especially when I do just fruit. It's like, wow, we're supposed to be by fresh air and ocean, right? And everything would feel like it was attacking me. And I had to step back and get more omegas into me and get so many minerals. And I'm sitting in a spot. Doesn't mean I don't get sick. Don't put me in that category. But I did feel that maybe that's why I can't eat the divine diet, because I get way too sensitive.
Yeah, you have to, and depending on what you've been exposed to, compromise. There's so many variables. These are things that why we always recommend go within your own inner guidance. You can get these advice, these ideas, and experiment and explore this. I definitely increased a lot more fats. I was a lot more fruit, and I'm still high fruit, but there's still a lot more fats, seed, nuts. To be honest, I go through phases unless I'm doing cleanses. Most of the time, I'm increasing my fats and I'm always incorporating my minerals, my greens, which I've shared. I do eat a lot of that. But interestingly, what happened recently, because I'm not used to hot food, hot anything really in my mouth, I've burned all my palate at the top. So now on top of this, I have got blisters all at the top of my palate, and it wasn't even that hot. It's just because it hasn't been, used to. And I was like, oh no, and I've burnt it, so it's really sore. And I'm like, oh my God, this is just really tender. So yeah, I can't even have. So now everything's really cool. So I have to be really careful on that. But that just shows me, I don't. Yeah, just. I'm trying to think what it was exactly. Was it that hot soup
or hot tea? Did you have any warm tea? Warm tea? Did you have warm tea?
Possibly, yeah. Because I've been having thyme, which is really good for cough, and licorice. I've been having that, which is good for cough. But I don't really drink a lot of herbal teas, but I have increased it this past week, and my body hasn't been. It's not used to it. And I was just like, I've done something. So, yeah, it's definitely sore now. And I'm like, now I can't even, everything has to be really cool now. Not even, because the warm was soothing, not hot, but just the warm was really soothing for my throat.
Yes. What that reminds me of is just one aspect of energetics, which the body hasn't had to send energy to. And like when I think of people trying to heal, is when you do raw and you lighten the load everywhere, even the messages in the lips and the mouth and the communication between the brain hasn't had to regulate heat. So all of that energy gets to go into healing. And that's just one thing we change when we go raw. Like I always think about these things that the body's not regulating this pathway anymore for heat, just for heat. Like there's other things that it doesn't do. And that energy can go to healing somebody's arthritis, or it can go to healing somebody's gut. Like freeing up energy is a huge reason we get to heal. And it may be why we're so affected when sickness comes on, because we just don't have it. Like I don't have it even remotely how I used to. Like the energy my body used to send just to keep inflammation down, like to try and get me through a day, is exponential. So when you get sick, your body is just not regulated. Mine isn't for illness anymore. Like it's not numb. It's really loud.
Yeah, your body's seeing it as a foreign entity and it's working harder to break things down. It's the same as the cleaners you get. You are it's quite clear that you're going to be more sensitive anyways, but this is a good thing, not a bad thing. Your body's repelling it. It doesn't want it in the body. Doesn't, it's working hard to fight it. So yeah, I'm on the path of, the cleaner you get, you may go through, you might not be robust at first and immune. And but eventually you do get this, like, I think, like, I felt for the last 6 years, definitely I felt very strong, doing lots of things. But for someone that used to get sick quite a lot, especially my meat eating days, when I used to look back, I always got the flu all over winter back in England. I was always sick. I'd got what everyone else got, if you believe in the direct germ theory. But as my body was getting cleaner, it was becoming more robust. But now what's happened is there's so many, when you're working on so many different things, like mine's my emotional needs now, and more of the spiritual work. I do feel there's a lot of cleansing I'm doing there now, and these are just different parts of this whole holistic process. And I think if things come up and a blip in the road, like I said, it's not linear. It's supposed to be messy. You might feel you're going backwards, and like I say, poor me thinking I've got something I shouldn't be. Why shouldn't we be getting stuff like this? The question the lady asked. I mean, was it the lady? You shouldn't be getting stuff. I felt the same. I was like, I should not be getting sick. But like I said, we're not living in a perfect world, and there's things we're eating that isn't. Yeah, and there's pollution, there's things in the air, there's bacteria, there's a lot of things that we are bombarded with, not even just with the subliminal things that's going on and crazy stuff. So we have to remind ourselves, be gentle, don't put that extra pressure when it's not necessary, because I've just felt it myself, so I know how many of us do. And also the expectation that you will never get sick, you'll never catch anything, you'll be the strong. It's like a whole journey of all different things that come up, and I like these real talks, because when people are talking, because I did it for quite some time, I never get sick and and that's fine. But I think if we can share more, like, truth and vulnerability and honesty, like I have been suffering a lot of emotional trauma from past that's resurfacing now, because now I've talked a lot about this actually in my videos about numbing and distracting and suppressing our emotions, and things are coming to light now. And these are the talks we're going to be coming in the retreat. We're going a lot deeper at the retreat of how unexpected things come up when you're not, life doesn't, they say when you get rich, doesn't think life gets easier. Sometimes you have more problems or more things to overcome. Some people say that, it's like, yeah. So it's interesting how you think you get healthier, you're going to have less issues. I mean, yeah, you've got to have that foundation. And I think it's more of the trusting of knowing that this will pass, and you have this strength within. and all of these other potential, you know, what you go through, you end up having these lessons that cemented within your
Yeah.
cells that you know you're going to move through.
So I'll give
No
you a
money.
huge example of money. So I've said this before, is what blew my mind was when I was growing up, and of course your family like pays for a lot of things, and I had multi-story house, private school, boats, jet skied, wakeboarded, or, you know, bought cars, designer handbags, right? I want more. I want more. That's last week. I want more. That's how I think I was, right? Then at rock bottom, I'd lost my family. I was on disabilities for years. I had been an alcoholic. My body is literally failing. I'm relying on, can't even access things because I'm so sick. And then my first apartment, a roof over my head, I thought I was in heaven. All the stuff in the apartment was donated. So 2 pairs of pants, 2 pairs of shoes, 1 bag by the door, and a plastic bag. Your brain doesn't have to think. I've got no one around me. If you are well enough to start accumulating stuff, you have to regulate stuff. And people would want to donate more. And I'm like, I don't want more knives and forks, because when I walk past that, my brain, when your brain is not working, you realize how much it's regulating your environment all the time. You put stuff in, it's like, you have nothing there. There's no, you just, and like, it was a real example. And then I was very aware, and I had resistance to, it's not, you gain stuff as you go through life, and you should sit in gratitude, but how we regulate that is not very normal because of trauma. So essentially I did extremely well with a blank mind, a blank canvas, none of anything, but just simplicity. And so it really, especially when I first went raw, and I was like, doesn't everyone have it wrong? Everyone thinks that we're supposed to accumulate stuff, and I'm here like, I don't want anything cooked. I don't want anything in a packet. I just want to sit out in nature and eat my apples and my dates. And I'm like, I'm so happy. I've got the sun. Hallelujah. So like, it was such like an epiphany that the whole world made, and you get angry. You're like, the whole world is just backwards.
Less is absolutely more. I think it's a trap, absolute trap. I've always been fascinated by the minimalist. Before, it used to be out of, because I had no money, and I was always living paycheck to paycheck. And I came over to Thailand with nothing, you know, literally nothing. A suitcase, my 2 dogs, and like a couple of £1,000 in my account, if that. And I was like, gosh, you know, I'm in paradise. I'm gonna make this work and just live with less. And I've lived by that. And by doing that, yeah, you can, when you start stripping away, you really start to see the real importance of what is. Yeah, for me, definitely less is more. I mean, I went through a stage of accumulation, but I was quick at letting that go, because yeah, it was holds on a lot. You know, for me, I'm not saying, you know, enjoy beautiful, nice things, but don't let it own you. And I think a lot of us have got attachments to a lot of things, but yeah, stripping away it really, yeah, when you see it, it's a stripping away of the diet, you know, less is better, less to digest, less to work, you know, put in the energy. It takes a lot of energy. When you've got heavy, dense foods in the body, it's going to take a lot of work to break that down. And so, yeah, that is my compass, really, is less is definitely more, just in simplicity. Can easily get trapped though, you know, it's the world we live in when you're seeing it everywhere. I mean, I don't even watch any, like, I don't even have a TV anymore. So even when I do go and watch TV at a friend's house, I can feel myself, oh, that's nice, oh, this nice. And I've got friends that they're very artistic, so I can see a lot of why they enjoy this lovely furniture and beautiful things, but I can enjoy it from there, you know, from afar, or, you know, from others. So I don't have that. So that is a really, yes, for me, it's liberating.
Okay, on that, like, you know, you see your friends have these beautiful things, and they appreciate that. What, like, because I was just thinking, like, I got one lounge last year because I got quite a small space, and how much I appreciate it, thought it through, got it in the right position. It reminds me of when I first healed, and I was spending 16 days like outdoors just eating fresh food, and the park that I'd been through past since I was a child became a wonderland and opened up, and it holds so much, because exponentially you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into what it's like. It's basically like metaphysics. It's quarks and all these things which can basically turn into anything, right? It's all potential. And so when I'm sitting in the park, all of a sudden you see the little ant lines come to life and they're passing little bits of amber along. I would never see that before. So you think we don't have anything, but in truth, if you sit with it, especially in nature, you can see levels and levels and levels, and all the way into quantum physics, if that's how deep you want to go and manifest anything. But that's basically what the universe is doing underneath. And I'm not saying what your friends are doing isn't right, but it reminds me of, like, once you strip back, you see more. In truth, when I stripped back, I could see so much potential in my environment, to the point where when I was having I don't know if I've told you this. So I was having, because I was coming off like alcohol and medications, and I had all these deficiencies in the FND, I was having seizures, and my tremors got really bad when I stopped the alcohol and stuff. And there's people barbecue in the park, and then the charcoal they throw away, just the charcoal they use for the fire. And my body told me to go pick it up and just hold it and just rub it, right? And every time I did it, all my tremors would just calm down. It's like a park of potential. I did a video on my YouTube channel. So I got some of the charcoal, because eventually I had to go in. It got cold. It was winter. Had to sleep. I would fill my pockets with the charcoal, and every time things got really, and leaves and stuff, and bring it in. So it helped me so much. Or how I would dunk in the water, and the water was literally keeping me grounded and helping my body deflame all the salt. Whereas before I was like, I need a bodyboard, and I need a fancy swimsuit, and I need a new towel that matches my friends. All I cared about was really finding myself again. And so there is potential anywhere, like even like donated things, and like it's there. And the more you see it, the more the universe gives you. So the more you see potential in what you have, I just find, then I'm like, oh, I have all these beautiful things, and like, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely agree. When you look into nature, it's so abundant and it's so beautiful. You can see, definitely see with a different lens, and just a different appreciation. I think we can have appreciation for it all, but if it causes stress and you feel lack and scarcity, then get to nature, get to look at what is available for us and what we actually really need. It's you can enjoy from from other people's point of view and enjoy what they're doing, but for yourself, if it is causing that resistance or stress, and for many people it is, it's a distraction for a lot. It's a way of an escapism. Shopping, look at the shopping addicts now. It's back to simplicity, as what this lifestyle and who we are is, just simple beings, observing, I love Eckhart Tolle. He just chills all the time, just listens, observes his thoughts, and just goes about his. I listened to something the other day on about, someone was saying that most people have to play him fast, like on fast speed. And I remember someone said this on one of my videos. Normally I speak quite fast, but
I remember this. Yeah.
Oh yeah, do you remember? And I've always been told you speak too fast, but this one particular video, I mean, some videos, is because I was a lot more just peace and calm.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've got a lot of energy. And it's funny how someone's perspective just saw it as, you seem really dull, you seem really slow. And I'm like, well, do you not just think I was in a good space, really relaxed, I was embracing nature a lot more, and I was like, I'm really good, but that's the world we live in. Everything's so fast paced, speed, speed, speed. And I even now I'm conscious not to put, when I'm listening to audios, not rushing it anymore, not rushing my reading, not rushing my audios, slowing down. And when you do that, magic truly happens. We feel more embodied with the slowness of life. We feel life is just precious and magical, and we can choose this way. You choose foods that are much more sacred and in alignment for what we truly know. We all know what to eat, but because we're so fast paced, we just can't even consider having rest and slowing down at all.
Isn't that what I wanted to say? That's why when we eat very high fruit, this is my interpretation, is we become allergic to everything because not that we weren't designed, you're so high frequency, those things are low vibe. The universe is forcing you to match what you put in. So that's why I feel for me, I need a balance of like the fruits, the greens, the nuts, the seeds, like this balance to stay ungrounded, to stay in front of a computer most of the day. The more, when I used to do all fruit, I think it's not a problem, it's a redirect. If you put these packages of light in, your environment has to match that. That's all part of the process. So you get to decide that. I feel that push and that pull all the time. And that's part of listening to your body. But it doesn't, I just find for me, I've worked really hard on, there is a density in this life, is seeing positive when I can, because the universe then reflects that back to me. But if I'm ever lost, and if somebody said this to me when I was really sick, I probably would flick on to the next video. But I promise you, because I feel like I've been through a lot, is nature. What nature can do is so powerful. It's even hard to explain. Like, she's always there. The universe is always there. The longer you sit with her, is the more you'll come to yourself, basically come back to yourself, and she'll reveal. But that doesn't always mean it'll be rainbows and butterflies. It could be cold symptoms, or and they're just you're about to learn some more lessons.
Yeah, there is. They don't always have to put meaning to everything, but in these sort of examples of like getting sick, sometimes it is that just slow down, listen more to your body. I pushed through. I knew what to do, but I pushed it, and it just clarified to me, you have to, take ownership of this is gonna happen because you've pushed it, you've pushed through, you got yourself busy, you're in a, vulnerable state. And I was not really in the my highest. I was in a lot of the shadows. So, but I allowed that to come up. I was aware of it, but there was times where I look and I'm like, okay, this is where the self-love and the gentleness needs to come in. And maybe it wasn't, and I already felt it wasn't called to me to go to Bangkok, but I overrid that. And sometimes we override things, and sometimes, because I wanted to go to Koh Samui, one of the other islands, and yeah, everyone else was like, no, let's go to Bangkok, and I just wanted to chill, and I think I would have been in more harmony there, but that's for another time. But I did end up going, and it's done. But yeah, your body is always giving you cues and signals, especially when you really connect. And nature will always, especially when you're doing grounding and you're slowing down and you're listening, you will get the answers. You will get the path that is for you, your way, where you're at right now, not where someone else is at. You'll get, like I say, inspiration and ideas, but you'll have your natural inner compass coming through much more stronger when you really connect. So nature offers all of that. We're so grateful. Wherever you are, we can find some tree, some grass, so
Yeah. That's
sorry.
so true. I think about when I was like locked up in psychiatric units and I wasn't eating raw food. I didn't know about it then, and I wasn't connected to anyone, felt so disconnected, yet the sun would pass my window every day. The moon would shine in every night. The universe, I feel like that's when my awakening started, when I dissociated. But even the little funny courtyard outside before they give you leave, it has leaves. It has a few little plants. And to many people who are very busy and have their lives, who come and go and visit people, probably don't see it. But what happens when that becomes your whole world? Nature, I remember just clinging to nature. And then when I did get leave, I'd go out the front and I'd like hold on to the flowers. Like, there's lots of Australian flowers out the front of the hospital, and I'd get the sap and like put it in my hair and like sit in the ground. And when you're like, though I spent a lot of time sick indoors and very medicated, and when that's all stripped back very, very, very quickly, and you have nothing, you're not talking to your family, and you basically just yourself, is sitting in that, even the little, like, I know she's everywhere, even if it's a little plant by your bed, or you know, you can learn, like, there's just so much that you can learn from all of
And
that. And
there's
what
synchronicities, isn't there? There's synchronicities where you find, you know, sometimes when you're disconnected, when you, like I say, when you slow down, or when you do tap back into your own guidance system, you do get the synchron, you know, things happen, magical things happen. So just like, you know, when you think of, like, lots of things happen with me all the time. Like when I think of a song I haven't heard in years, I'll go to a friend's house and she's playing it. I'm like, oh my goodness. I think of a friend, they reach out. I think of a dog,
yes,
and I see that dog, and I'm like, you know, randomly, like, things happen. So those little signals, these are the signals that are telling us there's more than just us here. There's a higher power there. Tap into that.
yeah,
Really, yeah, like you said, you want to focus more on the positive, and it's not being delusional, but it's because it's real. If we tap into that magnificence, it's just the world, it becomes much of a magical, better, because there is the dark energy. It's going to be there, it's going to be around us, but let's tap into more of the good. And I think that's what you're about, and you share a lot about. I mean, I share a lot of the darkness because I'm going through it, but you've gone through it. You have been through the roughest, and I feel that I love what you're sharing, that this just brings a lot of love, happiness, kindness. But don't also, for others, don't be worried. Like for myself, is going through this dark moments, this dark times, that we can't, embrace it as well, because this is all part of the holistic process.
yeah. And I almost think, to get out of the darkness I was in, the amount, like, I had been sick before I got to where I was, like unbelievably sick, and survived it, like having organs removed, like when I lost my stomach, and I've kept going. But where I ended up and how I came out, the amount of positivity you'd have to, some days I'd have to just move my legs because I had the FND, is just, when I think back, is it actually doesn't surprise me now that I am well, that I have this exponential positivity, because that's what I had to use. Like, no human could get out of that without that. That's the only way to survive. And I think that's why I seem so.
It works.
Yes, it did work.
That's why.
Work.
Why you gravitate into it. It's amazing. Like you can't not. It's in you. It's who you are.
Yeah, that's what it is. But also, speaking of the dark, and speaking of not copying other people's journeys, is when I had that health scare last week, to face having the cancer on my stomach, skin cancer, did not faze me as much as it bothered me that someone was cutting into my stomach again. And that unlocked a whole lot of trauma. But at the same time, I said it was like being thrown back in the mud. But in that mud was a huge part of me that I have gained back, and she's there, because I call this journey rediscovering myself. It was like I was locked out of a huge amount of my identity. Basically, when you say memory, it's an emotional memory, a huge amount of my identity. So to get her back, or any part of myself back, I have to dance in the dark. And I feel like my body will throw me probably now and again in there. But once again, I've chosen, there definitely was dark, but I got out of that something positive, and that is a huge part of who I used to be. And it reminded me of what I used to, as I said, is I get my bioidentical hormones from the chemist that I used to go to. And he said, oh, how are you? And I said, oh, I had to have, because everyone's like worried about me, I'm having to have this thing. And he looked at me and laughed, because I remember he saw me as sick as him. He goes, that's nothing for you. What are you talking about?
Oh,
and I was like, reality check, that's right. It is actually nothing for me. But I think when you fall back down, when you come so far, but that was a reality check, because he basically saw me very, very sick. So sometimes we need people to give us that reality check, right?
Absolutely. But also, don't, like I say, don't lessen it either, what you're feeling, because you're allowed to feel it. And I always like to use, like, sometimes these periods are times where it's necessary to go inwards and go, like I've been going a lot within in my cocoon. I call it cocoon phase, a bit like that. When you go back into darkness of, I call like when women have when they're pregnant and you've got the child there and it's all darkness, there's nothing, you don't know there's a lot of uncertainty what's going to happen when you come out, so I feel like this sometimes is part of that seed, to expand, to grow. So don't see these dark times as a like a blip in the road, a block or anything like that. It's just part of this new discovery, new identity, because that's what I've been shifting into, and I was doing a lot last year, and I'm seeing a lot of my clients feel the same of this. It's not getting lighter. It feels not as heavy, but it's heavy, and it's just because there's time for germination. It takes a bit of time, and you can, and sometimes things need to get worse, and sometimes things need to drop away, because this is a new identity. It's called the in-between. The mystics call it in-between phase. And this is what I feel now with a lot of things in my life. And it's not a bad thing. It's not going backwards. It's not failure. It's just part of this process. And you do speed it up when you go on this raw journey, because I said you're not, the main overriding thing is you're not using food as a drug anymore. So there's things that's going to be shredded and very intensely, very quickly. So yeah, just see your journey as very individual, and this is why these raw talks are really helpful, because we're all human, and that we do come up with some challenges in all different ways, and some things I never thought, like my health has been spot on for years. I was like, wow, you feel like, wow, this is the best I've ever felt. Everything's going good in health, and then this happens. I'm like, on top of all the other darkness stuff that's going on, I'm like, oh my goodness, what the hell is happening? But I'm not over. I did at first, I dramatized it all, and then I was like, okay, get a grip. You've been worse before, like you have. There's a lot of things that you've overcome, and there's, people get sick. And it's always bad timing. There's never a good time to get ill and to work on your stuff. So just see it as this is right now. This is what you are, processing. So allow that. Be more, just loving to yourself. And that's something I've really stepped more into, because last week I was like, I ain't got time for this. No way. I'm gonna do what I want to do. I'm like, I'm gonna still go. I've come all the way to Bangkok. I'm gonna have a good time.
But also, all the good things are birthed in the dark, right? So seedlings.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The baby. A baby's in the dark.
Yeah,
a seed in the ground.
And like, I think about that I can only do what I do now, or have the life or the exponential joy, because I was so deep in the dark, right? And so I can't see a time where, if you don't go through the dark, if you keep going, you will get benefits like that boom from the dark. All the good things are birthed in the dark, like you were saying. And so hold on to that as you go through. A lot of people have asked me in the past, how did I stay when I was so sick? How did I stay? And in fact, most of it, because I started being sick so young, felt normal until when once I tasted being well, and then I got shingles through the INFND, and I went through the neurological and the psychiatric things, is, in truth, some days I just had to hold on. Like, whether that was even hold on to pillows or hold on to life. But I'm assuming a lot of my superpower, we don't like to call it superhuman, but I like to say that my strength comes now because I knew that I was worth staying, like being. And I think that is sometimes all you need to do. I don't think you have to go that dark, but it's okay to sometimes not want to be here, not understand why you're here, and have so much going on. That you just stay, because even your belief that you love yourself in the past, or you believe you're worth that in your future. And I always think that the universe is just testing, how much do you want this guy? Like, you cut out now, you've been through so much, like, why stay? No, I'm worth it, even if you don't fully feel that at times. And because the universe is just asking all the time, like, what is it? And if you, in your darkest hours, you're still here and you still stay, and the universe is going to go, well, this person really wants to be here,
Yeah. You've got more to share, more to do. Your time will be when
That's
it's
right.
decided, not when you
Also,
decide.
I was also going to say something that comes up often, and you touched on it, and I didn't bring it back up, is because people always say to me, like, I want to start a YouTube channel, I want to do this, but I want it to be here. I didn't want to do this until I got here. I promise you, I feel like just being wherever you are, the right people will gravitate towards you. But through my dark times is where I get the most messages, influx of people going, I've been there. I didn't know that you could go there. People feel connected. And, when you realize being in the public eye or sharing something, you can't be perfect all the time. And anybody who is, most people will fade away from, because it's just not relatable. Life is like yin yang, up down, black white. There's always going to be two sides. It's what makes us human. And I think that's really important, is that to know is wherever you are in life is okay, because whether you're on a camera, off a camera, sharing, is you do help people. You can help people no matter where you are.
And you can
And
move through it. Move through it wherever you are. Yeah, like for me, I feel like, because I've put my channel on hold a little bit because I had a lot going on over Christmas, but more for gatherings and things like that. I switched off, really wanted offline time. But also I was in the early January processing some things and just getting a lot more clarity as the new year is, and you're just reflecting. I was like, okay, there's a lot of things that I'm gonna be talking a lot more of, and I want to share more of the just life in general, and how you process, because people do want to see, they want to see real, because now you're seeing a lot of, obviously, AI now, and even people are doubting what, like, like, oh, you're AI or whatever, and it's like, what? So sadly, that's what we're going to have to contend with. But as long as it's real, and I think people will see your past channel and stuff like that. But yeah, more realness, more these sort of talks, more connections. I think real connections is where I want to move towards.
You can't get more real than you coming on here at the back still being sick. Like, you're definitely real. Like, you still got your cold, and you're like, well, this is what it is. I do everything I possibly can. I share. It's like there's, I think, a bit of a disconnect when somebody has never got anything wrong with them, and they're like, I'm still here and I'm still perfect, and it is. It's like, it's life. It's life. It's learning. There's dark. There's light. We're not superhuman, but we can show up.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. We still show up. And even if you don't show up, it's okay.
That's right. That's definitely right. We all, as all I do every day, this is all I've done, is my best. So if I start feeling like I haven't done good enough, it is, unless I spent a lot of time inside, then it might become about something else. But essentially, it's all about that I haven't showed up enough for me. Really, like, as in, like, or I will feel that if I've done too much and have to go back, like pull back a bit, and that's all I do every day, and I see the good and I care for myself, and then the universe just provides, and I love that. Well, that's where I am right now.
Yeah. Well, look at what you've just done with the sea moss gel challenge. That's gone amazing, hasn't it? You've done so good. Your hair's amazing. I love it.
It is. Yeah. I have to be honest, this is part win. I went into the city on the weekend and got I do have lots of hair, but I got a little hair tie thing. We went in and
nice.
Did you see the video I made? So my hair was all wet, and I'm like, my hair, do you know what sea moss has done? Speaking of it, I'm going to do a video and show. So I think it's thyroid issues. So most of my life have had like bald patches there. Like, those bits there have never grown. And although most of my life I've never shown on blood tests thyroid issues, but I think they start before they show, right? Look, all this has grown, and I could never grow any of this with like hair products or like oils and stuff. And doing the sea moss has, like, it's just, I've got so much hair. But everyone who's done it seems to have somewhere different that the minerals really help. Like, some people are like, oh, it's my nails. Some people are like, on my gut or my skin. Some people like my hair. For me, it's been like that. But the biggest thing is if you go back and have a look over my journey, is that bit there used to be really bad. This one came back in first. That's much better. But this was like my problem area. I wonder what's going on under there. My brain is like frying it off. But yes, but I didn't do that for any other reason than I had a calling to. I was like, everyone starts it with too big a ask of themselves. Like they're like, I'm going to go raw for life. I'm gonna now like meditate, do like 10 things. And I'm like, well, if you just add, we always talk about this. You add one small thing in. Yeah.
Absolutely. That's all we've done. And that's where I see the success, the love for yourself, the sustainability. One thing at a time, don't it's putting too many things in. Life's just about enjoying the moment every day. I'm always trying to bring myself in to the now, always the now. Am I going back to past, what I used to do, what I did in the future, what I'm wanting in the future? No, now, right now. Let's just bring in what we can do now, not what, you can have these ideas of where you want to go, but really just every day, just put in one little thing you can do. If that means cutting out that chocolate bar that you have every day, get rid of it, So just little things like that, just compound effects. Darren Hardy, gotta read it. It's amazing. Yeah. It's a game changer.
It is.
So is there any last questions?
No, I think someone's going through some detox and they said it's really hardcore.
Detox is not the easiest. I know it takes time, and sometimes you can lighten it a little bit if it's too intense, if it's really affecting your health. But sometimes it's just that push. There are times where I'm going to push through and know this is the right decision, and just let your body do what it needs to do. You can do it very gently, you can do it very hardcore, and they all have a place in your journey. Absolutely. I've pushed through really difficult things, like the first juice cleanse I did, though, the real official one I did, the 40-day. Actually, that wasn't so bad. It was the next one, the 30-day. That was intense, but I knew why I needed to do it, and there is periods like that's necessary to push through. So I think we'll finish there. And if you are interested, the retreat's coming up April 18th to the 25th this year. April, Phuket, Thailand, 7 days in Thailand. Beautiful, magical place. All information is at rawliciousyou.com. Sky will also put it in the description box. But also, you can stay. You can stay before the event. You can stay longer. You speak to us personally if you want some ideas of where you could go. Oh, Helen did ask a question, actually.
Yes.
I don't have it. Did you remember the question she asked? Because if I bring it up on my phone now, will I come out? If I come out, because I'm not. Do I come out? Or am I still there?
You're frozen for a minute. For a hot minute. I don't think I saw a question. Maybe she asked you. Maybe I've lost you. Or you're frozen in time. Anyway, I'm going to just give this another plug because you guys should come and just spend time with us. But look, you're in Thailand. Did you find it? Tony?
No, so obviously I can. I've got to read it. But if I just drop out, if you can explain a little bit, just give me 1 minute. Let me drop out and I'll come back in.
Sure. Okay. So that's interesting. I don't think she knew that was going to come up. Okay, so we will be in Thailand. You'll stay there for, I think it's 7 days, 6 nights. We were doing workshops. We've got the beach. There'll be some stretching and yoga. There will be, what else are we going to do? We're going to go, of course, go to the beach. We're going to go in and pick tropical fruit. We've got the Indian chef, Chef Garesh, coming in from Dubai to make all sorts of recipes. We have posted little videos on all of this. And actually just talking to Tony just then was just making me think how excited I am just to talk to all of you coming for like a week. So I'm really, do you know, I was just saying,
Yeah.
I'm so excited that I realized, like, was we talk once, we talk all the time really in the background there, but we're on camera and we connect like this one time each week. But then for a whole 7 days with everyone, we'll just be
Yeah.
talking and connecting and helping each other go deeper. And it's in paradise.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait. And what an interesting one about, because I know when you're on this path, because Helen was mentioned about family and friends falling away naturally, and it's
Yep.
interesting that we're creating this event because with like-minded connections, and she was saying this is obviously a natural byproduct that friends and family, some people will naturally fall away. The more you go higher in anything you do in consciousness, old people, old friends, old family members that they just don't get it, might feel there's a lot of there can be resistance, and I've experienced it too. And I know Helen was sharing basically it's happened to her. It's very normal, but one thing is great is you gain a lot of new friends, a lot of new connections, and like say this retreat, you're going to open, see other people that are living in the same sort of same resonance as yourself and alignment. So it's a great opportunity to open that network, especially online. Reach out. It's so easy now to find your tribe, even if it's not in your environment right now, and it can be because it's happened to me. There's not as many, but very close connections like what Sky and I have is very we just offload and hold space for each other, share everything, true, all sorts. It's so just beautiful, like the fact that we can be raw with each other with no judgment, no, it's just and ideas, and just it's just so beautiful where people just get it, especially when they get this lifestyle and the path we're on, because a lot of these conversations we're having, not everyone resonate, and that's totally fine. We don't resonate with everything in the world. We're not, so we can't expect others to resonate either. So just find your people, and this is a retreat where you can get those real deeper connections, and be friends for life, and just share more connections, more events together, do more things together. Because I feel I watched many of you might have read and watched the book Into the Wild with Christopher McCandless. He always says experiences are best shared. When he passed away, he did a lot of things alone, left society, went into the wild, but then his whole experience leading up to going into the wild, when he left society, met few people on his journey, when he let go of a lot of things, attachments and people, he met incredible souls. That's what I'm saying. Once you dive into this frequency, this alignment, more people in the right alignment attracted, and then he ended up being a completely, because that was his original goal, but he ended his life with, because he passed away through eating a berry, he got poisoned sadly. He said experiences, life basically is best shared. Don't go through it alone. I've been through a lone path, and you do feel alone at times on this path, but we're not. There's so many more of us that think the same, that have these same thoughts, these deep conversations. So we're out there. There's loads of it. If you're there, there's more, and we're there, there's more.
That's actually reminding me of, I think, the reason people go through detox and then let go of so much, and we can feel very alone all of a sudden as we go through a process when we're trying to find ourselves, because we've put so much in, we've gotten very confused. And so I feel like that it was really important for me I was never completely alone, but I was more isolated. And I would say I wasn't alone, but when I started this, I was completely alone. But then as I slowly put people back in, but then as you've kind of cleaned out, because you can't, it's like you don't know the dirt from the good. You've just so consumed, and then as you let it go, you will see like things are still there, people are still there. But also it's like as we start putting like dents and nutrients back into rebuild, you get to rebuild with the people that you can pick, but you see clearly, you see what's meant for you and what's not. And so I agree, but I'm going on now, but a lot of people, when they're on their deathbed, never say, I wish I worked harder. What they say is usually, I wish I didn't focus so much on work and I appreciated family and downtime more. It's like that, those number one things. So it's like
present and now,
yeah,
here
yes.
and now.
Yes. All right. Well, we'll let Tony rest up, and hopefully you guys will go check out the retreat, which is linked here. And if you have any questions, please contact us. Our details are linked as well, and we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.